Welcome to Reread. We're on book 2 of the Corellian Trilogy by Roger McBride Allen. This one's called Assault on Selonia. It starts off, I should have mentioned in the last book, Han gets captured. Of course Han gets captured. He gets captured all the time. But this time he gets captured, and he's captured by Thraken Salsola, who's talking to him. There is way more history talked about between the two of them. And I wrote it down somewhere here, but I don't see it now. Anyway, he says something like, last time I left you, oh, here it is. Last time he saw his cousin, he was an imperial bureaucrat. Okay, well, again, A.C. Crispin may have skipped over that. She didn't have to mention everything, but since she mentioned him at the beginning during his childhood, I wish she would have tied it back and brought Han back. Was she under obligation to do so? No, but because she even brought Thraken Salsolo in at the very beginning, I kind of wish she would have put more in there, because then it would have, explained a lot more. I don't know. Again, petty complaint, but all the same. The Thraken Salsolo Han thing, Thraken Salsolo looks just like Han, except with a beard. I'm fine with that, and I actually like the character. Thraken is not a perfect guy. He's not the smartest villain in the world either, which is such a relief. When he has Han fight a Selenian who they have to fight. Han speaks her language and has her knock him out with his tail after they make the fight look kind of convincing. Later on, they would share a cell together, Thraken's thinking, oh, they must hate each other now, but they don't. They end up partnering up and escaping together. And then he learns more, and we learn, as the reader, learn more about the Selonians and how they're kind of like Wookiees. They're good with hodgepodge, putting ships together that work, but we don't know how, because they've got so many wires crossed. In fact, he's flying a cone ship toward the end of it that's like a bucket of bolts, and he didn't know how. Like, some of it's just standard devices, but then other ones are just made up contraptions. Like, who would make up a hyperdrive on their own? Well, the Selenians would. So I thought that was pretty good. It is a very interesting story arc with Han, and the character's name is Drachmus. And Drachmus is very interesting too. And of course, Drachmus has, is Drachmus a he or she? I've forgotten their gender. But either way, Drachmus has lots of friends they employ. And even though I don't recall their names right now after reading the book, it is interesting to hear about their culture, about their species. Every time we're learning more about Corellia, the Corellian sector, which was the whole point, I think, of the Corellian Trilogy, because it really hadn't been mapped out before this. So it's really good stuff. We're hearing about all the planets, kind of the history, like the planets don't really belong there. Like the lore is that they belonged across, they were different planets from across the galaxy that came together, but no one knows how. Of course, we'll find out how in the third book, but at this point, that the mystery is just put forth to everyone. Now, because Luke and Lando have escaped from Corellia, which is on shutdown, no hyperspace. I think communications are down there too, so no one can get communications in or out. So they try to get the New Republic fleet to go after, because they have Leia captured too. They have everyone captured. Thraken Salsola is holding the New Republic chief of state hostage. But the New Republic, they've dismantled a lot of their ships because, again, there's been more peace, I guess. But Akbar explains it even better and says, hey, look, because there's nothing for them to do, they're all getting retrofitted right now. It'll take us at least a couple of weeks to, get the fleet back out. They just caught us with their pants down, basically. But Mon Mothma has a good idea. Go to Bakura, Luke. Go see your old friend, Gariel, and ask her for the Bakuran fleet. Since we help them, maybe they'll help us. And I love this connection. Now, I remember when I first reviewed this, I remember this had this connection in there. But again, apologies to Bantam Books. They definitely wove in all past stories and put them with a purpose here. And this is one of the reasons, because Roger McBride Allen correctly puts this situation out there and says, yeah, and the Bakurans, that's the logical choice, instead of finding another Katana fleet. So Luke has to go back. Of course, he and Gariel have this awkward meeting again to smooth their past over, because they were almost in love once. But she's already fallen in love, had a husband, had a kid, husband died, so she's kind of already lived a life. And here's Luke kind of stuck in first gear still. He's still single. Not ready to mingle yet, but there's a little bit of flirtation between the two when they meet. And I love it. I love the scene where they're together. And of course, they're going to say yes. The Bakuran fleet is going to join Luke and Lando and go to Corellia. They have this idea to have all these backup generators, hyperspace generators or something on their ships. so that each time they hit the indictor field and the hyperspace engine blows, they activate the second one, then the third one, then the fourth one. And when that one finally blows, they're only 3 days away from the planet. You know, so at least they've made up time using that little trick to get through the indictor field, which I thought was good too. But Gario wants to go on the mission too. That's one of her, she doesn't have to, but she wants to. That's one of her requirements if they're going to take the fleet. And Lando doesn't want her to go, neither does Luke, because of her safety, because we're going into war, but she wants to. And this is great because her daughter, and I didn't write her name, I think it's Melinda or Melizia or whatever, doesn't want her mama to go. She's scared. And so Luke makes a promise that he will watch after her. And I remembered that because they're never going to pick this back up unless I'm wrong. I don't think they pick it up in book 3, but we all know what happens. Well, I don't know. Maybe you know what happens in book 3. And that promise, we won't hear what happened. You know, we won't see the ramifications of that until New Jedi Order. It's great. I don't know why Roger McBride Allen even made that scene if he wasn't going to go back to it later on. I thought he would. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's anything in the third book that kind of wraps up that storyline. Still, it is a sad, sad scene now that you read it before. I shouldn't tell you this. Belinda Kalinda is in this a lot too, and still at this point, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I know Roger McBride Allen wants us to love this other character. He's made other great characters already. This one, the one human character he makes, I can't get behind. Still not interested in her. And I shouldn't say that Tendra really has nothing to do in this book. All she does is she gets on her ship called the Gentleman's Caller and starts putting out a frequency. And every couple of chapters we hear that she's still trying to reach out to Lando. Lando, are you there? Lando, it's Tendra. Tendra to Lando. And right before Luke and Lando go into battle because they're going into war, that's when he gets the message. He responds back to Tendra. You know, he's about to jump to battle and he will find her. And they're going to connect in the third book. But I wish Tendra had more to do. You know, in the second book, it's almost like she's there so you as the reader won't forget her. Because Roger McBride Allen had he didn't know what to do with her in book 2. I kind of wish she would have just joined them when they were getting run off the planet. Why couldn't Tendra, who wants to get married to get off the planet, that's what she tells Lando, like, I'm using you too. You know, you're using me for my father's money. When my father dies, yeah, we'll get the money. I just want to get off planet. I want to get out of here. You know, she's a princess in a lonely ivory tower. So she's trying to escape. And I wish you just would have jumped ship with them and just made it out and then shared the adventure with them. Because there's no reason why she couldn't be going on the adventure and seeing the world, seeing Coruscant. Maybe she and Lando have a romantic dinner at Coruscant. You know, this is where they start to really fall in love. But yet, no, she's just in there every, couple of chapters or so. Lando, are you there? Lando, can you hear me? I wonder where he is. That was it. So I think it was kind of a missed opportunity with Tendra, because Tendra is a really good character, someone I want to get to know more of. But in book 2, nope, she's just there as a placemat to remind you that she'll be coming back in book 3. Now, how does book 2 end? Actually, really climatic, because Wedge finds out that a star had gone supernova. I kind of skipped this in the first book, but a star had gone supernova, and no one knows how. And this time, it looks like another star near a planet's about to go supernova, and now Wedge is like, we got to get these people, as many people, away from this planet as possible, because, who knows how much time they have to live, and that's kind of how it ends, is Wedge and his fleet are trying to evacuate the planet, which I don't think we're going to, I don't know, I can't remember the third book that well because I haven't read it all, but so far as what I've been reading in book 3 right now, I haven't seen a conclusion to that. But either way, it was a great way to end book 2, because you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to read what book 3 is about. So what is book 3 about? I don't know. But you know what? We'll both find out next time.